Okay, good morning, everybody. Happy July 4th as we go to the Parsha today. Chumash of today is on chapter 17,
Boom!
verse number 16. And God spoke to Moshe, speak to the Jewish people. And take from each one of them a mata, a stick. Mata lebase is a stick for each and every family. To the tribe, Me'ez Kol Nesiim, from all the heads of the tribe, Lebeis Avesu, the head of the families, Shnei Masamates, take 12 staffs. Isha Shmei Tichtel Amateu, and each one put his name on that stick. Shem Adam, and then they take that, and Tichtel Mata Levi, take the Adam's name, put it on the tribe of Levi, Kimata Echel, because I want to have a stick for each and every one of the tribes. Rashi says, even though I've divided them into two families, Levi, I have the tribe, I have the Levi and the Kehanim, which each come out of the tribe of Levi. Nevertheless, the family of Kohuna is separate from the family of Levi, is separate, is nevertheless one tribe. So even though the Kehanim and Levium are separate families, but they come out of the same tribe. They're all from the tribe of Levi. Nachlan Be'el made and put it in the tent of meeting. Pnei Eidos before the Aron. Which I commune with you there. And the man who I've chosen, you'll see that the matter will blossom. And will take away from me the arguments, the complaints of the Jewish people, which they complain against you. Now she says, the waters will subside. They'll see that you'll see what I'll show them. And then they'll realize that it's no secret. Everything is revealed. I've chosen the tribe. I've chosen Aaron, etc. So this is what Moshe Rabbeinu said to the Jews. Every head of the tribe gave him a mata, gave him a stick. Each and every tribe gave him a stick. Each and every tribe had a stick. To the 12 tribes. Shnei Masamates, they're all together, 12 sticks. A mata Aaron Besecham, and the mata Aaron's stick was between them. Now she said, he put it in the front, he put it in the middle. He said, oh, you put it closer to God, whatever. Put it in the middle, and that's it. And Moshe placed the sticks in the tent of meeting. It was the next day. And the staff of the house of Levi blossomed. It gave forth blossoms. It's a ferach, vayitza tzitz, and sprouted buds. Vayikmal shkedim, and it had ripened almonds. Now she says, "Yitzit ferach and mashmo started to blossom. Tzitz is the budding of the fruit after the blossom falls off. Vayigmal shkedim, when the fruit was recognized, it was recognized as almonds. Similar expression is found in the Chu grew and weaned vayigmal. This is an expression is frequently found used in reference to fruits of the tree, as in the buds turn into ripened grapes. Now, why did it particularly have almonds out of all fruits? That is the fruit that blossoms are quicker than other fruits. Likewise, he who opposes the kahuna, his punishment comes quickly, as we find in the case of Uzziah, and the tzaras shone upon his forehead. So when they go against Kehanim, your response is pretty quick. Taigam unklus regnas are knotted almonds, like a cluster of almonds knotted together, one on top of the other. Vayetze Moshe's kala amates, and Moshe Rabbeinu took out all these sticks, all these staffs of Hashem before God. Al Kol Bnei Yisrael, to entire Jewish people. Vayiru, and they saw it. Vayikru Ishmateu, and each and every one of them took their stick. And that's the ending of the Chumash for today. We go to Tanya Day. We continue in chapter 7 of the Alter Rebbe of Shara Yichud Ve'emunah, the portal of faith and unity. We continue the Alter Rebbe's thought. So the Alter Rebbe ended yesterday with the concept of a Malik Halam, explaining the Malik Halam, how through great contractions and the Eibishter ultimately, in various ways, the Eibishter, God ultimately, the energy of God that is infinite, comes into a finite entity So that the purpose is that God is there without becoming finite. But the purpose is that the entity should feel finite. That the physical entity should not be nullified to the energy, to the life force that is in it. So therefore, God contracted, so to say. Contracted it so that each and every physical entity should have their feeling of who they are, whether they are doimim, tzemeach, chayim, adab, whether they're inanimate objects, vegetation, animals, or humans. The source of the life force is the breath of the mouth of God, which enclosed itself in the 10 utterances of the Torah, where the Torah says, let there be. As the Mishnah says, Asara, my mothers, with 10 utterances that God created the world. Tavad Hashem, the word of God, so to say, is within the world on a constant basis, as it gives life force to the world. So the word of God is within the world at this present time. The breath of his mouth. Could have diffused without end, with and limit. And therefore created unlimited worlds, infinite in their quantity and quality, to give them life force forever. Unlike their present state, in which they are limited in all respects. And its corporal world, with all its being, if it wasn't contracted, all the limits are finite, would not have been created at all. It was thus the contraction. It was the contraction of the life force that made it possible the creation of this physical limited world with its finite creatures. The reason why the breath of his mouth would not have been contracted, would have created worlds without end, is now explained by the Alter Rebbe in a parenthesis. Because thus, like God, Kadosh Baruch Hu, blessed He, is infinite. So his attributes. And his actions are infinite, because him and his actions are one. So therefore, really, if it was for the word of God itself, it would be infinite. The world will still be infinite. Because the word of God, the Torah, is the blueprint of the world. The Torah is infinite. And Achai is that means a life force that emanates from the attributes of God. Chesed v'rachman, when it's namely kindness and mercy, and the other holy attributes of God, through their being clothed, the breath of the mouth, which refers to Sfiras HaMalchus. We know that in the Sfiras, in the 10 emanations of God, you have, especially in the motions of God, you have Chesed and Gevura, Tiferes. Those are the three main: kindness, severity, and mercy. All clothe themselves in Dibur, which so too is man. Man also all clothes itself in Dibur. It all comes down to the way a person speaks. That's why Hachayim v'Hamav biyad haloshen, in a way. The life and death is in the hands of the mouth, in Dibur, and the way it expresses itself. The way Chesed expresses itself through the mouth, so too everything comes through in the spiritual way too. Everything that happens in the physical way happens in a spiritual way. So everything that a person has in the malchus, and your malchus, my dibur, my speech, so to say, is God's speech. That Asar, my mother, is the expression of God's. That's why it says Olam Chesed Yibana. On one hand, it says the world was created through Chesed. And then it says Asar my mother is Nivra, that the world was created through speech. But it's the speech, it's the Chesed that comes through speech. The Chesed that it comes through speech. That's why it says the Torah is also the concept of Chesed. Its ways are peaceful or pleasant, because the Eibush, God's expression of the Torah, which is Malchus also, because it's the Devar Hashem. Torah is the word of God, is also an expression of God's Chesed. of God's kindness and God's mercy. As it says, the creation resulted in God's speech, the breath of his mouth. As it says in the Torah, he spoke. Say it in our davening every day. The Eibusha spoke and it came into being. Moreover, the creation came about through chesed. The world was created through midas chesed. Even sometimes that the world comes through gevura. It is because ultimately the world is created through a contraction, which is gevura, but it's an expression of chesed. It's chesed shebe gevura. We explained this many times. The world is built through chesed, but how is it the world is created both through chesed and malchus? The word of God. This means that the attribute of chesed, that's the concept, the attribute of chesed vested itself in malchus. That's dibur, and which means many things, because we know the malchus, the attribute of kingship, has many interpretations, many levels to it, and that's why it says with Dvar Hashem, creation took place through the word of God, v'ruach piv, and the breath of his mouth. Which became the vessel and the garment to the created attribute of chesed. So chesed, kindness of God, God created the world through chesed. This chesed came through the concept of dibur, which is malchus, kingship, and it created everything in the world. For a snail, whose garment is an integral component of the body. The Gemara gives an example of a snail. The snail is the covering is its body. It's not that there's two entities. Take the covering off, the snail dies. The word of his mouth is just a garment and a vessel that united with the attribute of chesed. And so the Gemara gives also the same example that the Eibishter, so that the Dvar Hashem is God, because the analogy of the snail and its garment. It doesn't have two entities, one entity to the snail. That's what makes it a snail. The force emanating from the breath of his mouth is thus capable of creating worlds. So that's why if it was dust for the Dvar Hashem, it would be unlimited. It would still be unlimited, both in quantity and both in quality. Holy and blessed be he, contracted the light and the life force that can diffuse from the breath of his mouth. And that's why it says Asara Mamaris Nivra Elam. So there's 10 words. How do you create from the 10 words all this world? You would think that the world would have 10 things. But the world has billions of things. Because you have, as we explained them many times in Chassidus, that these words have multiple ways of using these words. And not only the ways, as it says over here, Tzurufiyah is invested in a combination of letters, of the 10 utterances, and the combinations of their combinations. And if you know all the ways that the words, as we said before, the letters are interchangeable, and then you have gematria, etc., etc. So there are many bechlufer, tumeresis, atzmam. So the substitute of the transportation of the letters themselves, and then you have the numerical value and equivalent to misparim. So there are many ways that these words are manipulated. There's the atbash, which we translate, we flip the words from aleph to tough. Aleph becomes a tough becomes aleph. We have what we explained before many times that the letters are interchangeable. Certain letters are interchangeable in the way they are gutturally sound, etc. Each substitution and transformation indicates the descent of the light and the life force degree by degree. So that way, Kabbalah says, like we explained the echad and the va'ed, that echad means one, and va'ed is interchangeable because vav, ayin, dalas are interchangeable in the word echad. So echad and va'ed both mean the same thing, which means one, but one is written clearly. Echad is one, and one is through an interchangeable concept, which is the concept of a tzimtzum. So I cannot see it clearly. I have to know the combination. And I need to know the secret, the code. So some things are written openly, some things are written through codes. And there are many, many codes. It's famous, the Ramban, who says that if you really look at the Torah, it's Yud Kei Vav Kei, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Yud Kei Vav Kei. How does he see it? He knows how to interchange those letters and have and be able to see the name of Hashem in each letter. It's a famous Gemara, a famous story that the Gemara says that each and every person can find his name in the Torah. Every person can find him in Hazinu. In one Pasha, it says every person can find his name in the son of. You have to know how to use the letters. If you know how to change the letters, you can find, there's a famous book, the Torah, the Book of Codes, which that's only one concept, the way the Torah, the letters are written in a code of different distance from one another. There's many ways to understand the Torah. Torah is Keshutei, the word is there. So the word Ein Mikri, that's why the Gemara always says, Ein Mikri Yitzim de Pshutai. You never take the Torah away from the simple word, even though there's a lot of codes in the Torah. And there's a lot of codes. And everything is in the Torah. And that's why it says, everything is in the Torah. There's nothing, because the Torah is the blueprint of the world. So the words of God, the Torah, is the blueprint of everything in this world. As the Gemara says, the Eibush looked at the Torah, so to say, and that's why it says also in the Mishnah that 2,000 years before the creation of the world, 2,000 levels before the creation of the world, the Torah was there already. So the Torah is the creation of the world. And everything that's in this world comes from the Devar Hashem, comes from the Torah. You have to simply know how to be able to see it within the Torah. So they'll be able to create and give life to the creatures whose quality and signifies is lower than the quality and signifies in the creature created from the very letters of the word of 10 utterances. So you have certain words in the Torah, animal, for example, that says open the Torah, shor, chamor, even a chazir. So you have these words that give, that is the meaning of the law. So we have certain animals that the Torah says, but there's thousands upon thousands of animals in the world, thousands upon thousands of birds in the world. But nevertheless, they all are created from the word of God. Certain of them are created through the pasuk itself, shor, chamor, etc. And certain of them are sus, but certain of them are coming out from the mixes of these letters. Which within these mixture of letters and words, the Holy One, blessed be in His glory and His essence, which are His attributes, since they are one with Him, ultimately the essence of God are in all these combinations, but they are hidden from a person unless the person searches out and finds it. But not that they're not there. The difference is something a person can see in the creation of the world. A person can see it openly, and some things you have to find it through learning and through deciphering and through decoding, etc., etc. So that's the difference. The difference is, to me, I need to decode it. Sometimes I can decode it. Sometimes someone can tell me how to decode it. But everything can be found in the Torah. Every aspect of the will can be found in the Torah, in Dvar Hashem. Some things are revealed, some things are hidden. But to God, there's no such kind of concept, because the letter and the decoding of letters, the letter itself is a creation. The decoding of letters, Dvar Hashem itself is a creation. So ultimately, to Him, it's all in a revealed manner. Like to certain people, all this might be in a revealed manner. And they might know every source of like Adam Arishan. It says Adam Arishan named every animal in the world. Every animal he named. He knew the exact naming and decoding of name, and he knew the exact source of every single animal in the world, because he understood. He knew it. To him it was revealed. To most of us it's not revealed. To him it was revealed. That completes the Tanya of the day. Today is the 28th day of the month, which is a special day in the Chabad calendar, because it's a day that the Rebbe was saved from Nazis, the Nazis and the Russians, and made it to the shores of America on this day, the 28th day of Sivan. So it's a yontif to us, celebration besides the 4th of July. So the 4th of July is America's freedom. And today is when the Rebbe came to actually America and was freed from his confinement. And ultimately what we have today is because of that. So it's a celebration by all. And today is the Tillim. For your Tillim of the day is chapter 135 to chapter 139. If you do those 6 chapters, you do the chitas of the day. And I invite you all, my friends, today at 10 o'clock, just in a short hour and a half, you can come back again, either come to Chabad or on Zoom, and we'll learn a beautiful sikha on the Rebbe on a portion of Kairach. Have a wonderful and beautiful day.